Hello everybody and welcome back. If you watched our previous video on the build of this wine barrel smoker or whiskey barrel, whatever you have at hand, this might be of interest to you. We're just going to show how we did a couple of products in it and used it. So what we'll be doing, using it as a cold smoker today. So if you haven't seen it, go to our channel. It's a good build. It's interesting to see how it all turned out. So here we are, and what we're going to be doing today is using a sockeye salmon. So we're just trimming up the fish, taking all the fins off of it and the cartilage, and giving it a clean. We'll fillet it, do the both sides, and the dog's there to inspect the job to make sure everything's done right. And of course, if something goes spilling off the table, she's there to grab it. It's good to have a good sturdy work surface for this as well too. You're dealing with sharp knives and stuff, and I've got a big board there, and so I'm just cutting it in 2-inch chunks there. And then once we get these chunks all cut up, we can just go over there and give them a clean up. If you see anything that's hanging off them that you don't want to go into your jars, now's the time to take it off. We will be jarring these as well and pressure canning them. So we're getting ready for the brine. What I do is I mix up a big jar of brine, and I use 1 part of white sugar, 1 part brown sugar, and 1 part salt. And the salt that you want to use, you want to make sure that it's a natural salt, that there's no iodine in it. And I just mark brine on top of it, and keep it on a shelf somewhere. And when I need it, it's all done. But yeah, back to the salt. You want a coarse salt, and something that doesn't have any iodine in it. Just give them a wash, and once I wash them, I put them in a container and then coat them liberally with the salt mixture and left them overnight. So this is the next morning, and I'm just spraying my drying tray there with some vegetable spray, and that'll just stop them from sticking, and it makes for cleanup easier. And so we just get them out of there, and then move our bin out of the way, and then we can continue. What we're going to do here now is we'll be taking the skin off the back of these little pieces. So it's quite easy. I just go down through the center, turn your knife and slide it along, and that little nugget will just slide right off. As you can see, it comes off pretty easy. So I'll just proceed and go all the way along, and once we get these all cut off and cleaned up and trimmed, we'll give them a wash. You don't want the brine to keep on removing the moisture from the fish. It's done its job, so give them a clean in some ice water. And then once we get them cleaned up, and then we'll put them on a drying tray. We're just continuing to get them all done. Fortunate enough to have an outside kitchen, and it really makes it good for doing smoking and canning and stuff. Here I am just putting them into a container, and I'll take them over and give them a wash. And like I said, you want to wash them in cold water to make sure that you get all that mixture off of them. Now I'm just putting them on the drying rack, and we'll put them over on the fireplace to dry. You want them to dry for about an hour. It's a nice day today and a bit of a wind, so they'll dry pretty quickly. And there they are there. And the dog's just going to guard them for me. It's nice of her. And what will happen is that you'll notice that they'll just get a nice sheen on the top of the fish, and that's what you're looking for. And once we get to that point, and that'll take about an hour, and we'll put them in the smoker. But now it's a good time to get our jars and everything ready. So here's our jars, and what we do is you take all the tops and the lids off and everything, and divide them all up, and I've got a big pot of boiling water on, and I put them in the boiling water for about 7 to 10 minutes. You guys can decide what you can do on your own, but we have a big pot of boiling water there. And what I'll do is drop all these jars in. I put the lids in too. I like to sterilize everything. So we'll do the jars and the lids. And then we'll turn them upside down on clean trays. You notice I've got them, I even wrap the top of the warming oven there with foil so that you're not picking up any contamination. But we'll get them sterilized, and there our salmon has dried out now for an hour, and you can see there's a nice sheen to it. There's a better shot of it, and it's nice and firm. So I've started the smoker, and what it is, lit a chimney full of charcoal and put that in the hopper, smoking hopper. So, and then I use alder chunks, and I put alder chunks in it, and you can see the smoke coming through. There's a nice smoke. These barrels turned out fantastic for smoking. There's the hopper in front of it, and we have about a 3-foot stem on it there, and it goes in the bottom of the smoker. So it's going to smoke for about 3 hours on a cold smoke. And we're not trying to cure the fish here. What we're basically trying to do is just introduce smoke to it, and then we'll can it, and then the fish will cook in the canning process. There you can see there it's turned quite a bit darker, and it's kind of lost its moisture that was laying on top. So what we do is pick the appropriate sizes for the jars, and we put them in there. I put the beauty size out on the outside of the jar so that you see it. And it's good to have a knife handy if you see anything that you don't want to go in the jar. Now's the time to cut off. So I'll just go all the way through and fill these jars up. And you don't want to bring the salmon above the bottom ring. You want to keep it below that bottom ring. And you can turn sideways, just get it in there, pack it down. But you will be cooking the salmon again, so. And I'm just sorting them out the different sizes here. And then what I do, this is my own recipe. I like the taste of maple syrup and pepper with the salmon, so I put about a tablespoon of maple syrup in each jar. I don't add salt, and I don't add oil or water. There's moisture in the fish, and they'll come out in the cooking. And then pop in some peppercorns. This is a peppercorn melody. It's got all kinds of different peppercorns in it. Green, red, yellow, white pepper, and I just drop a few of those in. And then we'll put the tops on lightly. I just finger tight with the lid and put them into the canner, and then can them. And I use a pressure canner, so I'm not going to tell you how to use yours at the time. All canners come with instruction booklets. And if you don't have an instruction booklet, just check your canner out online, and it'll give you the appropriate time for the fish or the meat or whatever you're doing. So there's the smoker smoking away, and we're getting ready to put in our second batch of product. And what I'm putting in is some oysters. And what we did is we brine the oysters in Guinness, and you can see the Guinness there beside it. And what I do is I wrap my trays in cheesecloth, and I'll let these oysters dry for about an hour again. You don't want to put them in wet, and they'll just dry out. And we'll smoke them, and we'll do the same process with them. Thanks a lot for watching, and please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed this video.